Braaap here from Austin Motorcycles. Just going to show you today how we install on the Braaap ST250 or the Mercury. We do a battery delete kit. It's quite simple. As you can see from here, we've removed the airbox, which was 5 screws, 1, 2, 3, and also there's 2 screws that come there, those screws from the top. So once they come out, there's 2 or 3 there, this whole airbox comes apart. The carb is also quite easy to take off. This is the new carb that we're just putting in. As you can see here, that's almost a straight replacement to put that cable in there. Sometimes it's a little bit loose up here, so you can just tighten it up here, and so that's tighter the way it should be. So we've done that now. Now we're just going to put on the pod filter on the back, which comes with the kit. Tighten that up, make sure these ones here, those 2 are tight and these 2 are tight, and then we'll be able to run the fuel. The next step, you'll also notice I've undone these 2 screws from there to remove the starter solenoid, and if I'm not mistaken, I think we've got to take that one out as well. So when that comes off, that gives us all the room we need to be able to put our tray in. As you can see, the 2 screws there line up, the 2 holes line up those 2 screws, so they can go back in, and this sits underneath, and you can actually use the screws that have already been pre-drilled on that plate to allow for everything else. Keep your regulator rectifier where it's sitting, everything else will bolt on. The other thing that we have moved in the past is this. I don't know if we'll have to with this newest model. This might be long enough almost by the looks of it, but we'll test that. But if it's not long enough, we will provide one in the kit for you as well, because we need to fit our battery sitting down like so on that tray anyway. So that's pretty much the guts of it. Then put the tank on and the seat back on, do up those 2 screws, 12 or 13 mil heads depending on the model, and you're away. I can show you some results from dyno as well, which they're already going around on the internet, but yeah, we can add more to that later on as well. So also keep in mind, don't worry if you find you've got this one, this is left over. That was, if I remember, that was a weird one, like I know some people use it for a taco. I don't think that was his original one, but I've actually forgotten, at the moment forgotten what it is. If I remember, I'll let you know. We also do have a delete for your EGR. You can see that goes around that way, but this one here, so we do provide a plate that deletes that as well, which you can purchase, but and that just basically gets rid of this tube. We put a little blank on that and gets rid of all that. So it's just another upgrade you can do for the STs. All right, I'll talk to you soon. Okay, at this stage, I just want to go through a couple more things for you. We've got the tank on here, as you can see. We've hooked up the fuel line on the other side to the carburetor. You can see the plunger there, which is the choke. Use that when you want to first start off with it. Here we show you how we like to have our battery sitting. So we put our CDI beside it, the battery there, because it keeps the terminals away from the metal, which is good. But also we have a tester there, which, as you can see when you press the tester, tells you how the battery is going. So that's handy. Now the other thing I want to tell you, before you put the tray in properly, there's the 2 screws, one there. That's where the solenoids come out from. We actually mount the solenoid on the underside. It's a recommendation. If you find a better way of doing it, let us know. But this is the way we like to do it. So you actually undo that solenoid from up there. We undo the 2 nuts that hold the 2 wires together, and we actually mount the solenoid there. We do that just with, hopefully you can see a nut on that side, bolt going through here. So once you've got all 3 bolts sort of in place, then you can tighten them up. With the only thing that I want you to remember, if you look here, this is the positive from the battery. My recommendation here is run your positive wire up between the frame and the tray, so it actually goes in that angle there. Along here, you can see ours is right there, runs that way, and when it gets to this point, you actually run that down and hook it onto the solenoid. So, and then that can just be zip tied there. There's a lot of length with that cable, and we use every bit of it, but it keeps it out of the way from here, and I think it just looks better. So, so that's a recommendation there. We also keep the fuse up nice and high where you can see it. So if you do need to replace the fuse, it's right there. While I'm on this side of the bike, I'll show you. There's a fuel line that goes to the carb, and we're away. So the last thing I want to say is we actually use all the nuts and bolts that come off the bike when you're removing everything else to fit this in place, so it all fits in quite nicely. You do want to keep a space here. The bigger the space here you can keep, the better, because that's actually where the tongue of the seat goes in there, and yeah, the bigger the space is, the easier it is to put it down. But that'll sit quite flush with the frames there, no problem. Then once the seat's on, obviously just your 12 or 13mm bolts at the back. Tighten those up. If you want to use Loctite, probably not a bad idea. I think by now, if you're doing this, you've probably done a bit of work to your bike, and you know that Loctite on the Braaps is a pretty good idea. That's that just sits there. Now, before I go, this wire here is the one that comes from the negative. You actually get a replacement for this. We use a longer one because, and you'll see it's got the green thing on the end. Our wire will come across here, up here, through the underside, around there, bring it up to here, and then connect straight to the negative of that. That's the main negative, so it is very important. Make sure she's nice and tight. It's just a 8mm spanner will get that off. Once again, Loctite if you're at all unsure. And this is where the green unclipped, and you're going to clip the new negative wire that we give you up to that as well. All right, I think I've covered everything. With this bike, we haven't done the EGR delete or the custom exhaust, but I mean, neither of them are hard. The custom exhaust, there's a bunch that we can fit on there. The easiest one's the 17-inch one, which makes it sound really good. Works well with the upgraded carburetor. The EGR also gives a little bit fresher air, so helps a little bit, not as much as the exhaust. So definitely I would go exhaust first, and then later on, if you wanted the blanking plate for that, give us a call, because we can do all that as well. All right, enjoy your tweaking of your Braaap, or I think Sol and Victus still do this model as well, the Mercury. But yeah, any questions, give us a bell.